Cutting off toxic people is self-care. That's the new gospel. That's the line they're going with. The adult no contact movement is destroying families, and it's just a demonstration that we are coddling ourselves into oblivion. Let's go.
So, you're going no contact. You're considering going no contact. You're 25% of the way toward an open door on the subject of no contact. And you're feeling guilty, as painful as it is. The pain of being a person who goes no contact is nothing compared to the daily pain you've been in from being in relationship with these folks.
Every week, there is another 20-something on TikTok who is proudly announcing that they're going no contact with their family because their mother did not validate their feelings or their father disagreed with their lifestyle. But quite frankly, if you want to be a good adult, some amount of criticism is necessary. That's why we need mentors. That's why we need parents. And yet, we are so weak and so coddled that we refuse to take in that information, even in the instance when people disagree with you politically. That is grounds for going no contact, and it is a demonstration of how weak we have become.
When you start thinking about going no contact, I want to encourage you and say something you may not have heard before. You're going to love it. I know right now all you have is a world and a wall of guilt. And every time you think about going no contact, you just feel this thing in your chest and in your stomach, and you don't want to be that person, and how could you? But she's your mother and all the stuff that
My name is Casey. I've been a therapist for 13 years, a father for 9, a husband for 10, and I have seen firsthand how many men and women are saying that they can no longer go around family dinners. They can no longer go on holidays with their family. They can no longer have contact with all of their previous friends because someone had the huevos rancheros to disagree with them at some point, even if it's a disagreement that they didn't really criticize the individual personally. I've seen a variety of cases where no contact is the only option because people are trying to avoid social discomfort and, quite frankly, anyone who just disagrees with them. That has now become triggering, and it is a byproduct of our therapy culture that has created this new religion that is breaking people's brains.
Or no contact is the hardest thing that somebody will really ever do. And it might be a period in your life where you're at your most vulnerable and the most raw. So despite what estranged parents often say that going no contact is done on a whim, it really shouldn't be taken lightly by anybody, really.
The original no contact idea came from trauma recovery therapy. And if there is an instance of real trauma, meaning abuse, neglect, severity of crises within a relationship, going no contact is really just having a firm boundary around your relationship with someone. You have completely been injured by them over and over. You don't want to repeat that injury, so you place in a firm boundary. And really, if you're healthy about that, you just discuss it with them. You tell them forthrightly, and probably that leads to, some agreement that, you didn't have each other's best interests in mind. So it's not that not having boundaries is somehow better or more ethical than going no contact. So there is a case to be made that you need to have firm boundaries with people at times, but this no contact movement has more to do with, they don't agree with my lifestyle, so no contact, shunned. They don't agree with decisions I make politically, no contact, shunned. This is an aberration, and we needed a tribe, and that's why families persisted all along to try to help with the next generation and the next generation of raising children, having healthy support systems. And now that we've completely gone shunned, no contact with everything, we're losing out on much of what makes us human and much of what makes us healthy.
Days, and a year ago, I mailed my letter to my mother and went no contact, and I have not spoken to her since. So, yay, we're celebrating a year of grief.
Once upon a time, therapy helped people deal with hard truths. They helped people deal with ways that they may be misleading themselves or distortions in their thinking. And now it's just a co-signature on people doing what's worst for themselves and being affirmed when they come into therapy and they discuss what they did throughout the week or maybe how they felt about a situation in their life. You receive affirmation, and that's how this no contact movement has run absolutely wild. And part of it too is that people don't actually maybe even go to a therapist for this. They just see the therapy speak on places like TikTok and Instagram, and then they co-sign their own behavior based on what probably someone who's being a little bit dishonest about their own lifestyle is telling you online. As a parent, I can tell you without question that the thriving of my children is the foremost thing that is in my mind and in my pursuits almost all day, every day. And so if you are an adult and you've gone no contact with your parents, they must have done something so egregious in order for that to be justifiable. Now, there are certain cases, all the caveats, aside, but they probably at least at some point wanted what was best for you. And if they see you going in directions that don't include that, it is completely within bounds that they might have some criticism or some way that they would try to correct you. That's why you were given to them. That's why you were given into their family, to try to listen to what they might have, that their experiential lifestyle may have had a little bit more wisdom in it because, quite frankly, they're just older. And, we have been genetically predisposed to care about the thriving of our children, so they might actually have something constructive to say to you. Being challenged is not trauma. Being uncomfortable or being criticized even is not traumatic. If you're not willing and ready to take that in as an adult, I feel compassion for you. I also feel pity for you. You need to be able to take in. Do you have any idea the types of comments that I receive even just for posting videos as a therapist who's conservative? If I were unwilling to be able to take in some criticism, how do I even live? I mean, it's not that my channel or my online presence is that important to me necessarily, but I would not be able to even do the things that are required to live a healthy and functional life if I was unwilling to take some criticism. Most of the no contact stories I hear, whether it's online or in my practice, are not traumatic. They are life. They are normal life. They are being disagreed with. They are feelings being hurt. They are imperfect parenting, all of which is going to happen in every single family. That does not make it means or grounds to say you're completely shunned, you're cut off, my parents have to go because they made me uncomfortable. You don't grow by deleting your roots. You grow by working through them and producing good fruit, regardless of whether some of the branches are not the most efficacious for you personally or for the tree as a whole. Your roots matter. It is not within bounds to go no contact unless there is a severe problem, because perhaps this is going to be hard for some of us. Perhaps some of the criticism is valid. So many adult children are burning down bridges that they will not be able to rebuild. And they are being told that if it doesn't feel good, it's traumatic. That's a lie. There are things that are really traumatic. You know what used to be? People going into bunkers and being blown to hell for decades on decades in wartime. That doesn't mean that can't happen in families too. Of course, bad things can happen in families. But just because it's uncomfortable doesn't mean it's traumatic. Family is messy. Family is flawed. But family is worth it. And at the very least, you can understand the tendencies of genetically of where you came from if you remain, if you're able to stand in the discomfort and even the criticisms and be able to remain. You don't need to cut them off. You need to grow up. And that is okay to do while holding hand in hand with the family and the parents and the roots that you came from. Let's have this conversation because family still matters. I would love it if you like, comment, and subscribe. And please leave your commentary on how many people do you know that went no contact with their family and what were the results. Thank you for watching.